Welcome out to Dirty Story Night. This week we have a new story for you of Dumbo. And before we get started, we would like to invite you to please go to IABDpresents.com. That's our parent network of podcast, written work, video series, and more for more great content from It's All Been Done Presents. And support our show at patreon.com/IABD if you want to keep these episodes coming. Enjoy the show. And major props to Keith for reading this cold.
The moon shone down over the circus tents as Dumbo lumbered back to his trailer. He'd spent his life performing, and it had long since lost its luster. The months on the road, the cheap, greasy food, the forgettable faces all blurring together. He's beginning to think maybe he made a mistake joining the circus. "You were very good tonight," said a voice, which may or may not be male or female. I have no idea yet. Right? Oh, okay, it is female. Let me go back. "You were very good tonight," said a voice. Dumbo turned to see a beautiful girl leaning against a tent pole. Her ginger hair was tied back, and her face pepper and freckles. Her long, gangly legs and skinny belly, showing beneath her crop top, indicated she was young, but her breasts were full. Like Dumbo, she was probably of legal age in this story because I am not a creep. "Was I?" asked Dumbo. "Oh, yes. You know, I've seen you perform 57 times, and this might have been my favorite." 57? "Yeah, I'm kind of a circus groupie." "Oh," said the elephant. "Stop me if I'm being too forward, but I can see your tent?" she asked. Oh, sorry. "But can I see your tent?" she asked, which changed the meaning of that sentence quite a bit. "Absolutely," said Dumbo. He led her to a small, run-down trailer, embarrassed for the first time by its state of disrepair. But she didn't seem to mind. She only had eyes for him. As soon as they were inside, Dumbo pulled off his collar and hat, while the girl dropped her tight jeans to the floor. She hadn't been wearing any panties. "So what do I—" began Dumbo, but she was upon him. Her hands caressed his freakishly large ears, and then she seductively and painfully slowly ran her tongue up his long trunk. Dumbo shivered. Inadvertently, his elephant... Sorry. All right. His elephant dong getting hard. Now, instinct... I should stop people and look at the videos here. All right. Now, instinct kicked in, and he picked her up with his trunk and laid her on the floor. Deftly, he sucked her shirt up over her head and spat it against the wall. Then tenderly, he ran his trunk over every inch of her body. She squirmed in anticipation, her moist velvet pocket dripping onto the sawdust-covered floor. "Put it in me," she said. "Oh, all right," said Dumbo, carefully stepping over her. He was worried that his lower trunk might be too big for the human-sized pussy, but to his surprise, it slid right in easily. "Don't worry," she whispered. "I took on a whole clown car this afternoon. I'm plenty loosened up." Dumbo had no idea what she meant by that, but he began thrusting little by little into her. Being a virgin, it took about 4 thrusts before he felt like he was going to explode. He panicked a little, trying to remember what he had heard you should do at a time like this. What had Timothy Q. Mouse said all these years ago before his very short mouse lifespan came to an end? You have to come first, or you have to pull out first, or something like that. Dumbo did both, pulling out just as his pelvic trumpet played its tune, blasting the girl with his elephant... blasting the girl with his elephantine... Okay, I'm fine. Dumbo did both, pulling out just as his pelvic trumpet played its tune, blasting the girl with his elephantine jizz. Spurt after spurt came forth until the girl was practically glued to the floor with his spunk. "Ooh, yes," she moaned the whole time. She grabbed the end of his nose and shoved it into her mouth, using it as a makeshift gag at first, then sucking it like she would a cock. This was kind of gross, though, Dumbo. Comments are a little weird here. Come on. Give me a second. Oh, okay. I see. There's a missing T. Okay, there we go. Got it. Kristen, are you okay? All right. This was kind of gross, thought Dumbo, because she was only going to get snot and peanut dust out of there. but he let her go. It was only fair after the
pleasure.
Oh, okay. After the pleasure she had just given him. Now what? Dumbo asked, living up to his name. Oh, God. I've always wanted to orgasm 1,000 feet in the air, she said, her shy and coy tone in direct contrast to the gallons of jizz that dripped from nearly every inch of her skin. It would be my pleasure, said Dumbo. She climbed onto his back, still as naked as God, still as naked as a racist crow, and they flew high into the sky. When the circus was far below, Dumbo hovered as she feathered her cap on his back. Moaning so loud, Dumbo swore he could see every single one of his co-workers come out and gaze up into the sky. It was at this point that the girl, so caught up in her orgasm, tumbled off Dumbo's back and plummeted to the ground, so many stories down. He watched, dumbstruck, as she splattered on the roof of the train engine below, making even more of a mess than he made on her. Well, he thought, at least she died happy. And he knew. God damn it.
I'm so curious what
I'm sorry.
Just the last line.
I know. It's like, and he knew, being an elephant, he'd never forget her. Oh my God.
I hope that doesn't desensitize Dumbo for all future partners.
It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?